Yeah, my name's Ben Hall. Yeah, so I'm talking about web audio. My GitHub is Benji6, like slides are up there, and also some other like audio experiments I've been working on. And yeah, today I'm going to talk about all these things. Is anyone here like into music at all? Is anyone like playing any instruments or anything? So I see like quite a few hands actually. Like that's kind of good. So like some of the music theory stuff probably won't be too alien to you, but it doesn't matter if you don't fully get it or understand it all. But yeah, I'm also going to like show you what this web audio API thing actually is and what you can do with it. It's actually quite powerful. Let's just get started, I guess. So the web is silent, right? Apparently back in the day you used to be able to like play like MIDI music in like the browser and stuff, and like you have like background songs going on, that kind of thing. I guess I'm not really advocating that. Sounds like it's like pretty poor UX. What I am saying though is, most of the web is just visual, right? But we don't necessarily have to limit ourselves to that. There is like another dimension through which we can like be like conveying experiences to users. The web audio API is a specification. Yeah, it's fairly stable. It's not like fully finalized yet. I think they're aiming to get like the first run of it like finalized this year. I think it's like fairly stable now, and any sort of like evergreen browser you're going to be able to use all this stuff in, which is like kind of cool. But forget about doing anything in Internet Explorer. But that's true of almost everything, right? I've got some audience participation here. Like, does anyone care to like have an attempt at answering this question?
Put my hand up extensively.
Vibrations,
waves.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it, right? There isn't really a right answer. This is what Wikipedia says. So it sort of defines sound in like physical terms, which is vibrations or like waves, and like sort of psychological terms as well, which is what those waves do to us as human beings, experientially. This is like a sine wave, which is interesting. Like this is the building block of all waves, which makes it sound really deep. And like the way we experience a wave like this is, the loudness of a sound is proportional to the amplitude squared, and the pitch is logarithmically proportional to frequency, right? So there's no like simple linear scales here. You double the amplitude of a wave. So you're generating a wave through some speakers. You double the amplitude, it's going to sound 4 times louder. And if you double the frequency, that's just going to be a single octave higher. Yeah.
Can you like on that graph, what would change if you doubled each of those things?
So if you double the y-axis doesn't really go higher, but you can halve the hang on.
Laser.
Hang on. Yeah, check this out. So amplitude is the y-axis actually, and this is an amplitude of let's like slightly above 1. But if you halve that, that'd be like a quarter as loud. So like the wave would be like that. And if you double the frequency, the wave's going to look like this. That's a bit of theory there for you.
So the horizontal axis is time.
So the horizontal axis is time. Which is measured in radians, but we don't know what all waves are sine waves, and like there was a mathematician at some point like between like 1700s and 1800s it's called Fourier, who basically showed that you can create any wave just using sine waves. So like these three waves are like really big in like audio synthesis. We've got like the sawtooth wave. I'm loving this pointer up at the top. This is actually a sum of. Actually, let's not talk worry too much about what it is. But I'll show you what these sound like in a second, actually. But sort of bear in mind their shapes for now. So yeah, this is a sine wave, just for reference, and this is a sawtooth wave, a square wave, and a triangle wave. Yeah, so this is my live coding portion of this talk. I'm going to show you how to create these waves and show you what they sound like within a browser, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to copy this actually. I'll reset this up. So if I paste this into JSBin, I just want to make sure this works. Oh yeah, it does work. Hang on. So I'll talk you through this and I'll just try and get like a volume so I'm not really annoying. So yeah, this is how the Web Audio API works. We've got like this global in the browser called audio context. Actually it's kind of annoying or something.
Just refresh, would that work?
Oh yeah, no, you know what, I'm going to kill it for now. Hang on. I'll talk through this in a second. Okay. It's like Control Enter, isn't it? So, any browser that implements Web Audio API will provide us with this global called audio context, and we can new that up and get an audio context instance. And basically, this is our if anyone's ever used like the Canvas API, it's a little bit like that. You'll have like the Canvas element, and then you'll get a context, and from that, then you can like draw onto that Canvas element. And our audio context instant presents us with like a number of methods, which are essentially like factory functions for creating audio nodes, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm creating a gain node, which it's also like sort of a volume node, right? So it's got like it's got like a loudness associated with it, and I'm creating like an oscillator, which is something that can create waves. I call it like os, which is just short for oscillator. Here I'm setting the loudness to 0.1, so like the default value is 1. And then I'm connecting the oscillator to the gain, and then, so this is like chaining, but this is kind of like how the DOM works as well, right? So oscillator connect gain, like just returns the argument that gets passed to gain, the argument that gets passed to connect. So I'm connecting the oscillator to the gain, and then the gain is getting connected to the audio context destination. Okay, so maybe that needs a little bit more explaining. But like, yeah, the audio context destination is basically your speakers for all intents and purposes. So I'm creating like an oscillator. I'm passing that through a gain node where I've set the volume quite low to 0.1. And then I'm starting the oscillator, and then you don't hear anything because I'm actually stopping it afterwards. But I just, so by default, the oscillator is a sine wave. Yeah, I'm going to play again. And that's what that sounds like. But I'm going to show you what the sawtooth wave, the square wave, and the triangle wave sound like as well. So yeah, if we go like oscillator type equals, we'll start with sawtooth. So that's like that's a lot more like harsh, that one. Basically, that's got like a lot more like harmonic content in it. It sort of like sounds like about as jagged as it looks on the screen. The square wave sounds like that. Yeah, actually maybe these are horrible sounds. Sorry.
0.02.
Yeah, let's turn it down a little bit. And then the triangle sounds a lot more like a sine wave. And it sounds like that. So this oscillator object that I've got here, it's got like a few properties on it. Another of the properties is like frequency, right? So I sort of discussed that previously. I'll show you. So like the default frequency is set at 440, and that's in actually, I'm just going to talk a little bit more about that. But that's kind of like annoying.
You could comment out and sort of re.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, good thinking actually. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's awesome. So so frequency is measured in hertz after some guy called Hertz. I don't know anything about him. But like
Good with car ranges.
oh yeah, I don't get that joke. But like basically that means is every second the wave is oscillating 440 times. And human ears can like hear between 50 hertz and 20,000 hertz.
20 hertz and 20,000.
20?
Yeah.
Oh, I stand correct. Yeah. So yeah, that's this is like an A, or if anyone plays any music, like it's like the A. Like middle
Musical
A.
note A.
Yeah, musical note A. And I can like double it. Alright, so like I'll just play that one actually. And then if I double the frequency, we get like an octave higher, which is like kind of cool. And I can like half it as well and get like an octave lower than the original one. So yeah, that's kind of cool. We've also got like a detune property to this, which is kind of like frequency, but it's actually like a final level. So we can like, I don't know if anyone can hear that, that's slightly different. Yeah, so I think that's probably everything I wanted to cover here. There's another like fun thing about the web audio API. So like I can create the oscillator and I can start it, and I can also stop it, which is kind of cool. But hilariously, I can't restart it, and I'm not actually. I'll get this error. I'm not really sure why they did that. But you can't do that. Yeah, if you had to create a new one. There's a few like things like that you'll see throughout the talk where you're like.
I guess there's no pause either.
Yeah, there's no pause. I've seen like implementations where people have like created like oscillator banks, and instead of like stopping them, they just like lower the volume using a gain node down to 0, and they can sort of restart them like that. But
Can you not disconnect them from the, rather than stopping them, just disconnect?
yeah, you can also you could do that as well, and they just keep going, right? So
So is there a
yeah.
disconnect?
Yeah, there is a disconnect method as well. So I can't delete ones. Oh, yeah. So we're playing, and so where there's like a connect method on these audio nodes. There's also like a disconnect method. You can optionally pass disconnect an argument. Say if like you've got a node connected to multiple nodes, you can tell it exactly which one to disconnect from. But if you pass no argument, it just disconnects from everything. So yeah, that oscillator is still like oscillating, but because it's not connected to anything, you don't hear anything coming out of the speakers. So that's like first intro to web audio API, and like that's how you make like a sine wave, like change its pitch and change its volume. Is everyone like cool with that?
Well, what happens if you connect it again?
So yeah, you can reconnect afterwards. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah. It's not one of those weird things. Oh, hang on. No, the oscillator is connected to the gain, isn't it? So the reason I connect it to gain is like it will. Oh, yeah, so that's what. I'll get it.
So yeah, so the oscillator is connected to the gain, but so you disconnected the oscillator from the gain, but the gain is still connected to the audio complex
Yes.
destination.
Yeah. So I can connect the oscillator to the destination directly, but it will be really loud. I don't know if you want me to do that. I probably should do that.
Yeah.
So it will be like whatever. This is like 20 times louder, I guess.
That's interesting that that when you call connect, it returns the parameter rather than like, because that's not how, for example, jQuery chaining works.
Yeah.
and things like that.
Dominant, I believe
It's like piping
append
Yeah.
child returns the argument that you pass to append child. Well, maybe. I think so. Yeah. That was actually I sort of this is a recent addition to the API.
Quite nice, yeah.
It's definitely implemented in Chrome. maybe don't use it yet. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, that's kind of like boom. That's a brief introduction to what you do. So like yeah, you can sort of like see what's going on here. Creating like these nodes and connecting them together, and the nodes have like properties associated with them. Yeah.
Why is it game.value and not just game.value?
Yeah, I'm going to cover that later.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's a really good spot, and I'm rushing over it for now, but I will cover it like in the future, in this talk actually. So yeah, I sort of covered this. Yeah, hilariously, you can't stop it, then restart it. So yeah, now I'm going to look at like timing. What time is it? So your audio context instance has a, sorry, this is like kind of like PS 2015 stuff. So it has a, the audio context instance has a current time property, which gives you the time in seconds, to be consistent with the other JS timing APIs, which is a joke actually, if you're right, because like they all have like, they all times in milliseconds, right? Like set time out, set interval. Thanks, yeah. Tough crowd. Yeah, so that gives you the time in seconds since your audio context instance was created. Yeah, why would you need that? For scheduling, basically. So yeah, timing is really tricky with this API. So like yeah, in audio basically, I think the human ear can like detect like if something's like 10 milliseconds out, I'm pretty sure that's audible. So like things like set timeout or set interval, right? They're not very accurate. Basically, like after if you set timeout for like 1,000 milliseconds or whatever, like after 1,000 milliseconds, like you get like in your queue you get your callback, and like if your thread is doing something else, and then it just hangs there, and like they can hang there for like ages, or it can easily hang there for like 10 milliseconds or something before it's cool, and like that's definitely susceptible to like human beings. Like if you're trying to do like something like professional with audio, so it's just like the current like JavaScript timing APIs, because JavaScript isn't strongly timed, it's not really appropriate for making like music or audio. Yeah, which is kind of bad. So they've added this idea of like scheduling events. So yeah, in this example, yeah, it's sort of very similar to what we were just doing in JS bin. This gain is I sort of like try to reduce the amount of like boilerplate. So like the audio context is declared globally within these slides, and this gain is actually connected to the audio context destination, just to sort of let you know what's going on there. So I'm creating a new oscillator and connecting it to this gain, which is connected to the audio context destination. And start, like whereas we were calling it in JS bin before, we were passing an argument to it. It does actually optionally take an argument of the time at which you want it to start, and stop also optionally takes an argument for the time you want it to stop. And again, yeah, these times like confusingly are in seconds, not milliseconds. So like yeah, if I these buttons are sort of just like hooked up to that code, and so this should play a note from now for 1 second, right? Which it does. And this button actually schedules the start 1 second from now, and then so like I click that, yeah, so like it works. Yeah, so that's like the need for scheduling, and that's kind of a very basic introduction to how it works. And actually, this is actually one of like the most horrible things about trying to like do audio in the browser is this whole scheduling thing. I won't go too much into detail about the agony I've had with it. Okay, yes, I'm going to cover like a tiny bit of musical theory. I'm not going to go too in depth into this because I don't really understand it. Yeah, so like there's a way of dividing up like frequencies into equal temperaments, which yeah, if anyone's had a look at like a keyboard, there's 12 semitones between each octave. So like if you go up like all the white notes and all the black notes, or say like a guitar as well actually, if you go like so some of you know have done some music, but yeah, if not, like each octave we divide it equally into 12 semitones, but of course like logarithmically as well, because that's how, for some reason, that's how we perceive pitch as human beings. So I've like sort of created this function here that takes a pitch and returns a frequency. 440. So yeah, like maybe it's not worth covering this in too much depth because it's a little bit mathsy. But yeah, 440 is sort of like the what we define as our sort of like middle A, and we times it by 2 to the power of pitch divided by 12. I won't dwell on that too much. But yeah, I want to like sort of show you how we can like now we can create chords. So like a chord is where you play like several. So like so far we've just been playing like one note at a time. But yeah, if we create a chord, we can play several notes at the same time. And so yeah, like if anyone has only used it before, like you've got like, so to create our A major, we take like our root note, which is A, and which would be 0.0, and we take like a major third, which is our 4th semitone, and a 5th, which is our 7th semitone. Okay, yeah. And then yeah, we're getting our frequencies from our pitches using that frequency function I just defined. And yeah, we're going to basically play each of these notes for 1 second. And yeah, so this is just showing how like by creating like multiple oscillators, we can play them all at the same time. And so that's like what our major chord sounds like, and this is what our minor chord sounds like, which is yeah, kind of cool. And then yeah, arpeggiating is kind of like taking a chord but playing one note after another. So in this case, yeah, we're setting our note time to like half a second, and yeah, for like each of our major frequencies, we're creating an oscillator and we're scheduling it with the start and stop time. So we're doing like this. Cool, yeah. So that's like covering like scheduling and a tiny bit of musical theory there. I guess the idea is if you're like trying to play like multiple notes at the same time, you're just using like set timeout and that kind of thing. You would be able to tell that it wasn't quite right. Like the notes you're playing are like the wrong, it's like slightly off time, which is how I usually play music. So I'm death rate of time. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about this code too much, but I thought that the samples were kind of cool. So yeah, I sort of just like extending chords on the last slide and just sort of like playing a lot. So like yeah, playing a lot more notes. Yeah, so yeah, this is like my token. Oh, this might be practical, a slide. There's a good article actually I've got in my further reading where some guy was trying to argue that, hey, yeah, we could actually possibly use this in like UIs. Like there's a lot of like, say like apps, right? Like some of them have like weird like button sound effects and all that kind of stuff. And this is like my really like lame attempt to show, oh, we could do that if we wanted to. It may be that we really don't, but but like we've got like a that doesn't sound very good actually. Yeah, yeah, it sounds like kind of yeah. No, I'd probably turn the sound off if that was in my but yeah, it's doable, and that's all. So all that stuff is doable with everything I've covered so far in the slides. It's just like scheduling and just like creating putting into gain and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is like covering Ali's question earlier. Why are we setting the gain value like this, right? So gain has a property called gain, which is an object which has a value property, which seems it would seem like, hey, why do you build it like that? I'm just saying set gain.gain to equal 1. So the reason is that audio nodes, like gain and oscillator, have properties attached to them which are audiograms, which have, which I'm going to go into detail here. So like audiograms have this value property that you can set, but again, it may be that we want to change the value over time, which is just like simply not possible with what JavaScript gives us. If I was to like set timeouts or something, I want to change the volume like smoothly. It's just not possible. I could change it in steps like over time. But that's why they've added this thing called like audiograms, and they allow us to change things smoothly over time. So I guess I'll talk through that a little bit. So I'm getting the current time from the audio context here, creating my oscillator, which I've been doing quite a bit of, and connecting to this game, which is connecting to the destination. So instead of just saying like the oscillator frequency value, I'm calling like this weird method on a set value at time. I'm setting it to 110 Hertz at the current time. And then I'm calling this other method on frequency, saying linear ramp to value at time 1760 Hertz in 1 second's time. And again, this is like something that's just like not possible with like normal like JavaScript timing APIs. But if we did it this way, we can get like some like smooth transitions, which is like kind of fun. That's actually a square wave, which is why it sounds a little bit different. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
We should totally have the up one on every form submit.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. The more I think about it, the more I think maybe we should just leave the web silent. But this says like seriously though, like seriously. It may be that it's not really appropriate for like just little web applications, but it is useful, especially for things like games, or like possibly or apps for linking music. There's a gotcha here. What is it? This is another like amazing web audio API thing. So I think this code is like basically the same as the last slide, but instead I've set a value here, and then I've called this linear ramp. Like if you're using like these like the linear ramp, or like if you're using any of the methods of like of an audiogram, but you also set the value, then you just shot yourself in the foot. It's just basically like if you set a value that overrides any of the methods. So that's not like ramping basically, and it is just because I've set like the frequency value. So if you wanted to work it, you'd have to like not set that value.
Maybe that attribute should have been called force value instead.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done all sorts of things to make it a little bit more intuitive, but I don't know. Maybe it's not the worst like browser API in the world. It's not CSS. I joke. Anyway, I'm just in case anyone like goes out and tries any of this stuff, like, you should be aware of that. If you try and do that, you're not gonna have a good time. So the rabbit hole goes deeper. Basically, audiograms can also be destinations. So connect can be called on them. This is kind of like funky. I don't know if it's so like has anyone here like done have any experience with like audio synthesis at all? So like a handful of people. So like I presume you all know what I mean when I say like what LFO is. But like for people who don't have that experience, like LFO stands for low frequency oscillator. And actually this is a pretty good explanation of what one is. So like we've got our main oscillator here. As standard in like pretty much all the slides so far. And we've created another oscillator here, which like to all intents and purposes so far is exactly the same as this oscillator. And we've created a gain for it as well, so I call it LFO gain, just to be clear. But we set our LFO frequency to 1 Hz, which is inaudible. Like you can hear that if I was playing that. It's like, yeah, once every second it oscillates. And we set the LFO gain to like a ridiculous level, to like 1,000. The default's 1. So yeah, as standard, we're connecting our oscillator to the gain, but we're connecting our LFO through its LFO gain to the oscillator frequency. So this is kind of what I mean by like you connect directly to audio params. And yeah, we have to start both our oscillators. So we're starting our LFO and our oscillator. And yeah, I'm calling stop after 2 seconds because we'll just go on forever. And yeah, I'll show you what that sounds like. So yeah, imagine we've got one oscillator that's feeding into the frequency of another oscillator. So yeah, if you imagine it like our main oscillator's frequency is just going to go up and down. So we should sort of hear it going ooh, and yeah, yeah, you can hear it now. So yeah, that's kind of funky. And if we make our LFO like a square wave, it's like I quite like that one. And we can like speed up our LFO. Maybe it's like a 10 Hz here, or we can make it like really fast. Yeah. So this is so like if you have like one oscillator. I don't know if anyone's heard of like frequency modulation synthesis, but that's basically what that is. The way you have like one oscillator modulating the frequency of another one at a very high rate, but I don't need to go into too much depth about that. Okay, so delay is like kind of, this is really interesting because it like demonstrates like a key feature of like the audio API and what we mean when we talk about like audio graphs. So yeah, we're introducing a new node here, the delay node. Basically what a delay node does is it takes like anything that connects to the delay node, it takes that signal and it delays it by a certain time before it plays it out again. You've given it its own gain again, like that's often like another thing you'll see, like often nodes will have their own like gain that they'll be connected to control their volume. Yeah, so we define some like a node time constant up here. So our delay node has this delay time value, which I've given it as like a value of 0.2, and yeah, I've just set like a gain like less than 1 on the delay gain. I guess you can sort of yeah, this is kind of interesting. Our delay node is connected to our gain, which is connected to the audio context destination. And it's also connected to the delay gain, and the delay gain is then connected to delay. So this is like quite a big way where audio API differs from like a DOM API, because it's suddenly gone circular, right? We've got a delay node, it's connected to its delay gain. The delay gain is connected back to the delay. Yeah. And basically, every time the signal goes through, it gets the volume of it gets reduced by this factor here. What am I doing here? Oh, sorry, so I'm connecting. So I'm creating these oscillators, right? And I'm connecting them to the delay gain and to the output. So yeah, they're getting connected to the delay and to the output. So yeah, it's kind of circular, and this is what it sounds like. So like you would have all heard like that kind of effect in music before. Actually, I heard actually that like early computer memory was just like a tape loop that was going around, and like yeah, you could record things on it and then come back around. But like yeah, that's sort of it's quite a musical idea as well. And I did like an ASCII sort of diagram to sort of like show that aspect of things. This is kind of how our delay is working, right? Our source is going directly to the destination, but it's also going via this delay, which is like then going around a loop and reducing every single time.
So that gain in thing, is that the delay?
This one. Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
I should call that delay gain, yeah.
So does that sort of less than 1, it just gets quieter and
Yeah,
quieter?
so if we set it more than 1, which we could do. Oh yeah, we could do that. It would just end up like super distorted and horrible. So the signal will amplify every time it goes to the circuit. So the reason I set it to 0.75 or a value less than 1 is so that the signal actually reduces every time, which is why it sort of fades out. But yeah, if we set it like higher, it would like it would just get very loud. Questions?
What happens if you don't stop it? If it goes like below the audible volume, does the computer just cut it out? Or?
Yeah, good question. Next question. No, I imagine it just goes round. There's probably like the computer probably has some optimizations where it realizes it's gone too low. I mean, really, like so. In none of these slides, I'm not cleaning up after myself after any of these slides. I've got a hell of a lot of nodes connected to the audio context destination. Really, what you're supposed to do is disconnect them and stop them, and then they should be garbage collected, and everyone is happy ever after. I think really, you probably should be looking after that yourself. I don't think you should really rely on the browser just still. But it quickly reaches. In this case, it quickly reaches a point where it's inaudible. But it's probably still like using some memory and maybe some processing power as well.
So the next slide, quickly. So you say that it's going from the source directly to the destination, but it's also going by the gain delay in the delay. And then it's still going on to the destination after those? It's not like it's...
Yes, yeah, exactly. So nodes are kind of cool. Yeah, you can connect them to multiple things. This is going to test exactly. So it comes straight there, but it also goes to the gain, and then it goes to the delay, and then half of it, well, not half of it, but the delay goes to the destination, but then it also feeds back through to this gain. And the gain set to 0.75, and every time it comes through here, half of it goes that way, and half of it goes that way.
Why does it
Not
get quieter if the source is connected directly to
That's
the
what I'm
destination?
doing, yeah.
So the source is actually, that's the first thing you hear, right? So when I play this, the first notes you hear are actually the ones that went directly to the source. Everything else you hear is just stuff that's gone through the delay node.
Okay.
So actually, I don't even need to connect it to the destination. But the reason I do is because then it instantly plays. Like otherwise, I guess if I didn't connect it directly, I'm not going to mess around with the source code of the slides right now. But yeah, if I didn't connect it directly to the destination, you'd probably hear basically the same thing. The only difference is you won't hear the sound from the moment I click the button. It will be delayed by 0.2 seconds, which I think is what it's saying.
Isn't the whole reason that you can't restart the source node because the garbage collection is happening for you?
I think that might be it. Yeah, there's something I guess I don't know that much. But I think once you call stop, there's some kind of
Because
garbage
once
collection
the
stuff
source
going on.
node is finished and the end of the scene graph's finished, then it's going to garbage collect whatever you've started.
I think that that may very well be the case. I mean I sort of I don't know enough actually, to be honest. But I remember someone saying so I'll come on to this in a bit, but I created a library and I wasn't stopping the nodes, and I was like, what's the big deal of disconnecting them, but someone said, oh yeah, there would be garbage collected, so I did that. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I think it's got something to do with garbage collection. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just going to cover like a couple more nodes. Not too many for you, but I don't know if this will work. Yeah, we'll find out. So yeah, we've got this stereo panel node, which is like a. So that's just basically like left channel, right channel kind of thing. Like it's quite really simple. And what I've done with it, I've created another LFO, another low frequency oscillator, set to 1 Hz again. And this panner has a pan, which again is an audio param, which is why I connect to it. I'm connecting the oscillator to the panner and then connecting that to the audio context gain thing. Starting everything off, I'll just play that to you. I wonder, like, is that? Do we have stereo speakers? Maybe we don't.
We do, I just don't know if they work properly. Can you guys
I
hear
don't
that?
think they do. They do. Basically, that's going from the left to the right channel, guys.
Can you guys hear that coming out from over there?
I think
I don't think. Okay, we're just going to skip past that one. But basically, yeah, if you had headphones on, that would like be like, oh, left ear, right ear, and all that kind of stuff. Filters. Yeah, this is like kind of a cool area. Like, you would have like, yeah, you would have heard all this stuff in like music before. Like, we've got this node called like bipod filter, or just called like filter for short. And actually, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. I've not really covered very much. But yeah, it's got like a type, kind of like how oscillators have types. So like sine, square, triangle. This has got like low pass. It's also got like high pass. It's got band pass in there, and some other kind of filters maybe that I can't really remember. It's got this Q value, which again I don't really know nothing about to explain. And it's got like this notion of like frequency, which is like where it's like cutting off. So basically, like a low pass filter lets everything, all the low frequencies through. But like anything that's above like the frequency I've set the filter at, is going to be like reduced in loudness. And the Q value is kind of like a resonance. So like anyway. And yeah, so I've made our oscillator sawtooth wave, because that's a lot more like harmonic content. So like you'll hear like the effects of the filter a lot better. And yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about it. Just actually show you what it kind of does. So like this is like a low pass with a Q value of 1. And yeah, I've called these set value at time and linear rapid value at time on the frequencies. So kind of get that weird effect where it's sort of like over time it like lets more and more of the high frequencies through. If I set the Q value to like 12, it should be like there's a lot more resonance in the envelope, like, which is kind of cool. That's kind of like an old school sort of like synthy sound, which is kind of fun. A high pass filter is kind of the opposite of the low pass. Only that's in the high frequencies and not the low frequencies. So that's kind of got like a different sound to it. So yeah, that's kind of cool. You don't have to like just create your own sounds using like all these nodes and these oscillators. It's all like very like synthy. It's like kind of like a little bit abstract, I guess, a little bit niche. You can just like load in like sounds that you already have. So I'm using like fetch here, which is like new kind of nearest API. I don't think it's like finalized or anything. And yeah, I'm taking like the data from that. I'm using audio context has this decode audio data method, which I'm using to then get a buffer. I'm creating new nodes. There's quite a few nodes, and this is like a buffer source node, which I can use basically to like load the samples essentially on sort of like source.buffer equals buffer, which is defined up here. yeah, so like it's got audio crowns again. So these could be changed over time, or like you can connect an oscillator to them or something like that. It's like, I think that's what's really cool about this. It's like really flexible. Like you can like anything you think of, you can kind of do it. Most of it will sound terrible, but like sometimes you'll find something that sounds awesome. Yeah, like I guess like yeah, this is like sort of the dream for anyone who programs JavaScript and loves synths. So yeah, and I'm connecting the source again to like the gain, and the source has a start method on it. So it's a little bit like an oscillator is a kind of source as well, really. But yeah, they've got like start and stop method on them. And so I'm loading this kittens.wav sample, and I'm going to play it, which sounds like kind of cute, because it's in a bit obligatory to like have kittens in like async talks. I don't know. Yeah, I can like so this payback rate, right? I can set that to like I've set that to 2 on this double speed one here. So like it goes faster, but it's also like higher pitched. And I set to like 0.5 on this one, right? Interestingly, like if I set like the detune, it also like speeds it. It's like they're equivalent, right? So like to increase the pitch, I just increase the speed at which the sample is played. That kind of goes back to like what my graph was before about the sine wave, right? So like if you double the frequency, like you just get 2 sine waves in the same space that one was in. I don't know if I just explained it well. But yeah, I was playing around with these and like I sort which goes back to the whole point of like you can do a source of crazy stuff and most of it sounds terrible. What else? Yeah, that's like so that's a kitten's essentially like delay. Basically, like this is like hours of fun for me. Like, I love this stuff. Yeah, it's really cool that this is really cool. You can just do it in like your browser. Like anyone can do this. It's kind of rad. So yeah, like I'm not gonna like cover everything here. Like that, those are just like a few of the nodes that you've got. I was like briefly like there's an analyzer node which is used for like basically you can use that for like analyzing the audio that's coming through it, and you can use that for like visualizations and that kind of stuff, which is really cool. I don't know, maybe you've seen some like cool web audio visualizations, but they're probably using that. Convolver node is basically like reverb, like 80s drums and that kind of thing. And yeah, so I showed you the stereo panel node. It didn't work very well, but there's also this panel node that like that gives you a lot more like power and control, and allows you to sort of like this one is like really good for like games and stuff, because you can sort of simulate what it is to like hear a sound source like relative to you in space. So like what it is to hear like a sound like coming from like behind you to in front of you and all that kind of stuff. But it's a bit more advanced and a bit fancy. And wave shaper node, which is used for like distortion and that kind of thing, like Nirvana or something. Yeah, so coming out to kind of the end of the talk actually. But yeah, I want to like talk through briefly talk through a couple of things like a couple of my personal projects. Like one of them is this like thing called virtual audio graph, which I've been working on. And the idea of this thing was that like you could decoratively the idea was it's sort of like I sort of took a leaf out of like what like React and like Virtual DOM were doing with the DOM, and the idea was that like you could just specify a data structure that represented what the audio graph should look like, and then virtual audio graph would just like update the audio graph to look like that. I don't explain that very well, but yeah, I created sort of a DSL basically for like saying what I want the audio graph to look like. I can like then like subsequently call like update, and it will like patch it in sort of like an efficient way. and I sort of like used that to create like, where am I? Yeah, so I've been building this thing actually, which is like kind of fun, using the everything I've sort of talked about so far. But it's like taken ages to do this. But I've got like a basic like pattern editor. That I can like sort of, and I've got like a sort of like control pad here.
Great names.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of alright. So yeah, that's sort of like trying to put it all together, I suppose. And yeah, this is like, I guess like, probably check this out if anyone wants to like look at the slides afterwards. Like here's like some cool little things people have built, like the web audio API. And yeah, like here's some other, like if anyone is actually interested in this, like check out Chris Lewis's Web Audio Weekly, which is like a newsletter that goes out every week. It's really good. And yeah, awesome web audio on GitHub as well, which is also like pretty good. I think that was a reasonable time to be speaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions on any of this? No? Oh yeah.
I'm just kind of curious as to sort of how much theory you had to learn behind all this, because there was a lot of sort of connecting nodes to others and things like that. I mean, you've done a great climb at that. Like, would you recommend that people understand the basics and understand the theory first before they try and dive in? Or?
Yeah, I think I probably would. Yeah. So I think probably this stuff's like, it's kind of like, it makes me think of like WebGL in a way, because it's quite like a niche kind of thing, right? I think like there is a bit of maths in there, and there is sort of like, I think it is good to have like a bit of a background in music to understand how it all works. At the same time, like some things, like just like loading samples and playing them and like changing the speed of them, that's like quite simple, quite easy to understand. There's like good libraries out there as well, which can like help sort of like make stuff like a lot easier. But I think there is sort of like, some of it is a little unintuitive. Yeah, definitely. Especially some of like the gotchas, which I pointed out in the slides. So yeah, maybe it probably is a little bit technical, but I think it's really cool. Yeah.
What's the most impressive thing you've seen done with
Really hard question to answer.
You just seen it?
Yeah, no, that probably wasn't it. I thought this thing was really cool. I don't know if it's going to work actually. So has anyone seen see if it maybe take like forever to load? It's probably not the most impressive, but it was like the most fun thing. Yeah, I'll take a look. So this is like built with like web audio, like web sockets, and the idea is like you can sort of like I don't know. Has anyone seen this?
Yeah.
Oh, you have seen it. Yeah. Oh. This was like hours of fun. I could be here all night maybe.
So JFK is just someone else on someone.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, and people come in and people like join and leave and all that. So yeah, that's. But like, I think there's people out there who are trying to build like more sort of things like digital audio workstations, like collaborative tools, especially like making music together. Oh, there is one really cool thing called like Loop Drop by some guy who's like some Australian guy who's like really good actually. It's like way better than the thing I built. But he charges money for his things, so you know. Yeah, I think I think there's potential here. There's a slight problem like that. The timing is really difficult in JavaScript for like building like proper musical stuff, and it's kind of annoying. The whole single-threaded thing is kind of a bit difficult sometimes. But I think we're going to see more cool stuff emerge over time. Like people like are going to get interested in this, especially that I think this spec should be finalized this year. Yeah, we should see some cool things happening.
Why is the single-threaded thing taking us?
Yeah, well, it's things like if you wanted to like do like really advanced like digital signal processing. So like they've got like I think they're working on like audio workers, another type of JavaScript worker, which is supposed to like like sort of solve that problem where you can like process like the audio signals in like a second, right? And like sort of like modify them and that kind of thing. It gives you like a sort of like a very low level power over these things. James?
So I was just going to say, it's low latency is the problem.
Yes.
So if you the brain is very sensitive to any kind of delay. So if you're trying to play something and it's a millisecond out because of garbage collection ports, then your brain is going to detect that and it's going to sound wonk.
That's spot on. Yeah. Basically, like fault tolerance, like the sound is like very low. Like humans can detect it really easily. It's kind of funny. Yeah. But.
See, that might kind of answer my question, but I was going to ask if it's possible to do real time with this. Like, could you hijack someone's like Skype call, sort of Google Hangouts call and just start to really subtly fuck with their voice?
I don't see why not really. So you can like you could do that. I mean, there'd be like certain degree of latency, but like there's a latency on any sort of like network call, isn't there? So probably,
I want you to do that next week.
So is this accessible through extension APIs?
I never looked at it actually. I don't know.
I mean, the fucking with your voice.
Oh right, yeah.
Hangouts.
I guess if you've got a window, then I don't see why not. Yeah, probably.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's probably quite doable. Yeah.
I was going to reflect back on that whole seconds thing, and it sort of clicks. It started as a question of what's the lowest kind of delay and so on that you could define. You did half second, quarter second.
Oh yeah.
I guess if you kind of strip that back down to 1,000th of a second, it's not going to work properly, and that's probably what this time delay stuff is.
Yeah, but like the thing is, if you schedule it, then you've got a contract that is going to happen exactly when you said it, when you told it to happen.
Okay.
That's the whole idea of scheduling and this stuff. Is sort of that's the answer to we can tell when that's like slightly delayed.
Do you know what the tick is though? Like, could I schedule it to like a fifth of a millisecond or a tenth of a millisecond?
I imagine it's small enough that it doesn't matter really. Like if you basically the thing is if you like schedule like 1,000 notes per second, it will create its own waveform and it will sound like a different wave. You won't be able to like discern all the different notes sort of thing.
We eat a lot of memory though.
Yeah.
I can answer the latency, not the latency, but the how short can you do things a little bit. I was messing around with it, like modulating a gain node with something else. I was trying to make Morse code out, but it worked quite well. Some tens of milliseconds seem doable, so you can change stuff quite quickly and it'll respond. For some synthesis, that would be enough for
More questions?
For your things where you're kind of syncing up the audio with the visuals,
Yeah.
are you using like the request, the animation frame, or are you using?
Oh, the thing
Have you got the kind of the web audio clock and the animation frame synced in any way?
Yeah, I know, and it's caused me like horrific agony. Basically the visual is done with set timeout. And like the audio stuff is like trying to like schedule it, and then like keeping them in sync has been like a total nightmare. Yeah, I don't have any answers on what's the best way to do that. It's really annoying. Like, why? Yeah, there's like all these different parts.
There's an HTML5 rocks article on a tale of 3 clocks.
Yes, that's right.
Use like 3 clocks in order to get everything simple.
It's basically like a total headache, like horrific. It's like one of the hardest problems I've come across in like web. Yeah.
Can I ask
Sorry, yeah.
a really basic question, like JavaScript question?
Yes.
essentially? It's like why is set timeout so inaccurate? What's wrong with this?
Yeah, so basically, it's just really going to test. I've got like a very loose understanding of how the event loop works and all that kind of thing. So someone might want to correct
Put it to the road.
The spec of set timeout, if you set timeout for 1,000 milliseconds, what that means is that function will get called no earlier than 1,000 milliseconds. There's no contract for 1,000 milliseconds, it just means no earlier than that.
Yeah, so if it's doing a bunch of heavy shit, like right towards the end of that second, then it might come at sort of to 1,010 milliseconds or something like that.
So this is like single-threaded issue, like I feel like holds back JavaScript in some ways. But if the thread is doing something after that 1,000 milliseconds, you're just on a queue, and there might be something in front of you on the queue. You could be waiting for ages, but like.
So how does the web audio, the thing that you were using, how does that work? Have they got a separate thread that they're working on?
Yeah, I guess they must do. I don't know enough about the internals of it, but you've got a contract that it will work. So yeah, it's sort of like you don't have to rely on the event loop. So sorry, June.
I guess just extending off those two questions, if you have contracts in the web audio API, can you use those to emit events out of the web audio API into the flakier? To get rid of the flakier code?
Sadly not, and I haven't seen anyone like make any effort to add that in, which is cause of grace to happen. No, it doesn't exist. There's all sorts of things like when I'm like sort of using linear ramp method, for instance, or there's also an exponential ramp method on an audio parameter. If I cancel that halfway through the ramp, there's no way of me knowing what value it was at unless I calculate it using JavaScript separately. So there seems to be like a number of things where you just, this thing like where you have to use like multiple clocks to like work out timing. Like, there's some things like really cool about this API. But there's some things where you just end up like problems that seem simple on the surface, like are actually really, really hard to solve. And so part of me like absolutely loves this and I think it's awesome. It's like really exciting. But then like some things you try and do, it's just a bit depressing and hard. Any other questions? Yeah.
How complex a sound can you make? Like, can you do some proper awesome synth stuff that you'd be able to do with using production software?
Yeah, to a certain extent that is possible. Yes. I haven't gotten like much into like as far as like say like emulating an analog oscillator or something like that. I think that's also possible, but that's sort of going beyond my knowledge, and also like I think you'd run into performance problems quite quickly. But there's no way. I mean, like I can like quite easily like say on my app, like I can like fire up 100 oscillators at once with no like noticeable performance problems. And you've got like all these cool filters and stuff. I think whereas sort of emulating analog is possible. I think it's there could be performance problems with it. I think like even like since implementing C, sometimes I have performance problems like when you're trying to reconfigure stuff like that.
Normally you get like a 3 synthesizer and you can actually max that out. You can kill your computer's processing with it.
Yeah.
Three oscillators.
Yeah.
3 oscillators.
Yeah. It's just like all the extra processing, filter, LFO, delay gains, wave shapers. Start putting all that all together. You can really just kill your processor really quickly.
You can, and I feel like there's a difference between the browsers as well. I found Chrome so far to be a little bit more performant than like Firefox, but you are very much, especially if you're using these nodes, you're very much like relying on the implementation of browser vendors for performance.
it's going to be evolving all the time there.
Yeah, things are changing. Yeah.
So what about compression and actually, taking your fabulous creations and saving them into format?
Yeah. So there's I haven't touched on it, but there's an offline audio context which you can use to basically render. So like, I can send all these oscillators and stuff and like filters and like wave shapers through into an offline audio context, and then I can use that to like generate something that can be like saved essentially, which is kind of cool.
Can you talk about any tools or dev tools that are available?
Yeah, there is for like web audio. So actually, there's I know like Firefox has like has a really good web audio dev tool. I think it's only in the developer version though, is it? I don't know. I don't know if you want me to plug Firefox. But like also like one thing that's completely saved my life is this guy called, I can't remember what his name is. But it's in this if you check out like Awesome Web Audio, someone created a web audio test API, a web audio API test library, which like it's just like complete savior because like it basically they've like mocked out all the different nodes and how everything interacts, and you can like if you've got a DOM or something, it's quite trivial really to like find out like all the children of like an element, and like you can't do that in like web audio. No like massive pain, like what's connected to this? There's no way of knowing, right? But this test API is like really good for that. You can like pull out like a massive JSON that represents like what's connected, and it works with like all the circuit references and everything. And that's what I used to create the virtual audio graph actually.
I'm sure I've seen a graph of, I don't know, I really don't know whether it's Firefox or Chrome or whatever, but I'm sure I've seen a graph of the nodes actually represented. That's the question rather than...
Firefox.
I think it's Firefox.
Yeah, Firefox definitely have a tool.
Have you given it a try at all?
I think I did once, yeah, but I think it's in the developer edition, or it used to only be in the developer edition of Firefox. And yeah, it was actually kind of useful. I think I think it kind of showed me an area where I wasn't like probably destroying nodes by leaking memory. So yeah, yeah, that's good. Jules?
One additional question. Can you go from control rate to audio rate? So can you send data in the same way that you're decoding data from a WAV? Can you send data into an audio node and then upsample it into sound?
So the buffer nodes. Again, this is like pushing the limits of my understanding, but I don't know if this quite answers your question. So where are the kittens?
The other way.
Yeah, here it is. So this buffer, right? You could generate that if you wanted. That doesn't have to come.
Yeah. So does that answer
your question? Like you can like fill that. You can create like a buffer, like and just fill it with whatever you want.
So that's another use for kind of web audio is to actually feed some data in. Instead of having a visualization of it, you can have an oralization of the data, so that you can hear changes in data as it streams in real time, which is used a lot these days. So that's another kind of use, which isn't the sort of buttons and.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, again, sort of linking to this whole thing, not limited to psi.
I've heard of network intrusion detection systems, network monitoring systems, which are oralizers.
That sounds really cool. I hadn't heard of that, but it sounds radical.
If everything nice and you've got streams, stream running, just running water, when things are getting a bit dangerous and you've got clouds and thunderstorms, and distant rumblings of thunder, and then lightning.
Some of the arbitrary stuff is a bit weird.
I saw another use for this as well recently, of like actually transmitting data via the web audio API, right? So yeah, using like ultrasound or like near ultrasound to send from one machine out of speakers and then to like pick up in another machine via microphone.
Marketing
It's,
is
syncing advertising ideas.
Yeah.
It's got using web audio.
Yeah, same.
Wasn't there also like some virus that
Yeah.
people were doing that with, where they were
Stuff
sending it
through,
across? So if you've got non-wired machines to keep them isolated, then you could do that by the
Oh, wow, really?
microphones.
Oh, wow.
Is that how, what Stuxnet did?
Yeah, jumping air gaps.
Yeah, that's
Holy
it.
shit, really?
Yeah.
Don't get any ideas, guys.
We're all infected.
Yeah.
Single-threaded JavaScript, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other burning
Anything
questions?
else?